welcome to Grounds Patrol, a podcast for Newgrounds creators. My name is Will Comer. I am your host. We have a fun episode today with GetMadz. You've seen this in the title. Thank you to everybody first, though, who left a review for the last episode, the Not Safe for Work Roundtable. I want to read a few of those because you guys were really nice and it was a fun episode. H. Galaxus says, pretty nice stuff. It's really interesting to listen about how someone got into Not Safe for Work somehow. Yeah! That's a lot of why I wanted to talk to them. You're talking about people who decided for themselves that they wanted to draw boobs and butts for maybe a living, maybe a hobby, but that's a decision that at some point you made, and it was a fun story. Red Rad Rebel says, that one thing you mentioned about finding Newgrounds twice, once before being a creator and once after, is super true for me. Yeah, that's super true for me too. And we talk about this, I think in this episode too, a little bit of how, you come to Newgrounds first as a kid a lot of times. And you're like, I like this content. I'm here to watch and listen to and enjoy this content. Maybe one day I'll make the content myself. Of course, that day comes, but it's like years and years later. And at that point, you're like, where am I going to put my stuff? Oh yeah, Newgrounds, because I liked it back in the day. So you got that, 1-2 puncture on Newgrounds as a kid, as an adult. I think that's true for a lot of us. Thank you very much, guys, and thank you for enjoying that episode. Now, today we have GetMadz, who is not a Newgrounder, and that might surprise some people who are like, this is a Newgrounds podcast. First of all, thank you for being concerned. So, this is a podcast for Newgrounds creators, but that doesn't mean it always has to be about Newgrounds creators or with them. In fact, I think it's more fun also to talk with people who aren't on Newgrounds and who have their own fresh take on things and make art and creative stuff on the internet in their own way. And we can talk with them, they can talk with us, and it's kind of a melting pot sort of thing, As Newgrounders, if we're only just talking to each other internally, it's like an echo chamber. We're just going to be echoing the same thing back and forth to each other forever. Outside opinions. Fun. So this is the first of those. GetMadz is a storytime animator. We had a fun time talking. I found out a lot about storytime animation, which is something I'd only recently learned about anyway. And he does interesting things to make his videos. He uses a software I'd never heard of before, and now I'm like trying to look it up myself because it sounds amazing. I'm not going to hype it anymore because you're going to listen to it right now. Enjoy. Just so you know who I am, my name's Will. Thank you for coming to my house.
Oh, no problem.
On the internet. And I was like a Newgrounds guy back in the day, so I knew about the animation side of the internet back then, and I kind of like fell off of it, and I'm coming back in as somebody who sort of wants to know more about all of it. So I'm not... Okay. You might be feeling at a few points like you're talking to your grandpa about the internet and how it works.
Oh, no, don't worry.
Which helps me sometimes because I feel like a lot of shows like this are from one insider to another on kind of this side of the creative internet. It feels a little more
enclosed.
Yeah. So if you don't know what they're talking about, you're like, I feel like I am missing something really big.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm glad I can be like, so what is this?
No
Storytime animations is something I didn't even know about until recently.
Yeah. It's a pretty close community. Like everyone knows everyone. Like it's high school. It's pretty weird. Cause for me, I got into like film and media first and editing and graphic design. And then I got back into art. And then like after I found the community, I was like, oh, this is like, because like to give backstory, you said you were from Newgrounds, like back in the day. Yeah. Like I used to go in Newgrounds like here and there, but I was never like an active user. Mm-hmm. Same for like most things. And again, like, this is when I was like 8 or 9 years old. Like I would just go in and play like
nobody's churning out that content when they're 8. They're looking up
exactly.
boobs on Newgrounds and being like, "This is me someday."
Yeah. So like whilst everyone whilst a lot of people in the community were learning like Flash and stuff, like I kind of skipped that, and whilst that was happening, I was learning film and like editing and like iMovie and all this stuff when I was like 13.
Got it.
And then from there is when I got Photoshop. Because I used to do art, but like child art, when I was like 7 or 8. Nothing like crazy.
Scribbling superhero stuff in your notes
and stuff. And then sort of like fell out of it because I had like some really bad teachers in high school, which just made me hate art, and it sucks because I'm like,
sucks.
Oh. Yeah, no, it was lame.
Yeah.
And then after, so like for my YouTube channel, so I've done like loads of different stuff on that channel. Like the amount of unlisted videos is like kind of crazy. Like I've done like a bunch of things from like skits, short films, video game stuff, just a bunch of different things. And then a few years ago, like three years ago or so, like 2017, in high school we had sorry, not in high school, in it's weird with the, I'm not sure if you know the British system for education, but basically our last,
You have like secondary school or something like that.
No, yeah. So after we finished high school early, like we finished high school at 16, and then from 16 to 18 you go to a thing called sixth form, or it's also called college, but it's basically 2 years before university.
Yeah, it's college, but it's not university. I remember learning this at some point and being like, what is it? How?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Crazy.
But during that, we had this, I took media production and game design whilst I went there, which are really fun classes.
Fun and hard to put into practice.
Yeah, but it was really nice because I had the same teacher for both my classes, so it's like if I had one problem, I could come to the same guy. But we had this project to do a music video, and I was going to do this one crazy thing in After Effects with all these like crazy effects. And of course I realized, hang on a second, this is a bit harder than I thought. And then I decided to just make an animated music video just with like a little scribble sketchy style. And that's still up on my channel. It's for it's a Filthy Frank music video for Help or Pink Guy, whatever it's called. It's pretty old. It's kind of a dated meme. But I got a high grade from that. And then from making that, I was like, hey, this is pretty fun. And then at that point, my channel was kind of stagnated. Like I'd been at like 2,000 subs for like a year, and I wasn't really making any progress in terms of...
For somebody not doing anything directional, that's still high though.
Yeah,
like,
no, that was
props to
pretty...
you for that.
That was pretty good, but at the same time, that's like, that's accumulated over from 2012 to 2017. So that was like a long period of just doing on and off stuff. But yeah, like half of my like audience did not... Of course, it was like all sprinkled all over the place. And then I was like, hey, if I'm not making any progress in terms of my channel and I'm kind of like lost with ideas, I'll just integrate drawing somehow into it. And that way, even if I'm not getting like, if no one new is watching, it doesn't matter because I'm still like learning a skill.
This is interesting. You're saying before knowing what you were doing creatively, you were still invested in growing your audience on a YouTube channel?
Yeah. So like,
That's
no,
good.
it's more of a, it's trying new things. Because like, again, I'm pretty young. I'm 19. Well, not crazy young, but like, 2000s, baby.
It's all relative.
Yeah. So like, I've been watching YouTube since I was 11 or so. Mm-hmm. So like, I've always like thought it's pretty cool, and I've always done it like, again, as I said, I used to do short films with my friends and stuff, and we used to just try things, and they get fun, but then after I wouldn't, like, I'd sort of reach a peak of whatever I'm doing, and then think, okay, this is kind of lame, this is kind of boring. I just get tired of it, because I wouldn't be able to think of new things. But with a skill like art, it's so, you can just keep scaling it up and up and up with skill, and especially with animation, it's like that tenfold. That was one of the main reasons, or the main reason why I go into doing like animated story times, because I was like, hey, this seems fun. Like, I could just get to draw, get my skills up, get to learn how to write better, which I still like struggle with a lot. So,
the scripts. We'll talk about the scripts. I know that nobody will ever talk about storytime animation without referencing the YouTube algorithms change and how like, and I'm not going to go into it too much because that's
how it
so
like
well
destroyed
documented.
animation, and then all of a sudden a bunch of channels started doing this. And
I was just wondering how that affected you, or if that affected you, because everybody else seems, if you talk about it, it's like, oh, well, I was an animator on YouTube, but then the algorithm hit. And
I was back then, when that was happening, I remember seeing like Ross's video on it, like when it was released. But like, I was, at that point, I was a fan. I wasn't really like, again, this is when I was doing like short films and goofing around. So, but I was like, oh, that sucks. That's kind of lame. But then, I didn't even really think of that when going into it. I was just like, hey, this is fun. I don't want to push myself too much. I just want to, do something which doesn't really stress as much. Because luckily for us, like, we don't have to stress that much about uploading as often as everyone else. Somehow we get like a free pass, upload once a month or whatever. Of course, it comes with its like downsides, and like especially with me, I'm trying to upload more than everyone else, even though it's animated.
Right.
Which is
that hustle.
Fun. But yeah, no, it's like, because compared to, fun fact, compared to everyone else in the community, they usually use Flash or Toon Boom, or they just do stuff. No, I don't use Flash or Toon Boom. I use Character Animator, which is another Adobe software.
Oh.
But I'm the only one that uses this.
I literally,
and
I was going to ask you today what you use, and I decided not to ask you because I knew it was such a high chance you use Toon Boom or Flash that it was not.
Oh no, I don't use it.
Okay, that's
I'm like
cool.
one of the only people in the community that uses the software, and I've gotten a few people to start using it, being like, "Yo, it's so much easier," because it basically turns it's a perfect software for people who are new to animation but are used to art.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like, because it can look kind of uncanny if you type in character animator or look at any examples on Google. There's a lot of them which like have this sort of like uncanny weirdness of like the necks like moving and stuff.
Okay.
And I didn't like, when I first saw it, I was like, ew, this is kind of gross. Like, I don't really like this. But then I realized it's basically just making a video game sort of like keyboard shortcut for your character. So like all my like letter keys, like Q, W, E, R, T, like all of those control my arms for my character. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 controls the eyebrows. I press M on my keyboard and my character switches from a neutral mouth set to like a smiling mouth set.
Wait, you're blowing my mind right now. That's how it works?
Yeah.
So you're
and it's
puppeteering
also
yourself.
live lip synced, so I can do like live streams and it tracks my head.
Okay. So you're recording this live as almost like as a puppet.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. What I usually do is I write the script, and then I record the audio in Audition or Audacity, and then I import that audio into Character Animator, and then I can compute a lip sync, and then it generates lips from the audio, and then I can go back and like tinker with it if I'm like, this looks off. And like, it's as simple as like, it's so easy to lip sync because not only it's automated, but if you just click on let's say there's a R mouth shape, you're like, that should be like a W mouth shape, like a woo. You just press W on it. You just highlight it and then press W and it switches mouths.
Oh my god.
And it's really easy. Or you just right click and then just choose the mouth shape.
I was thinking it's kind of like the transcription software where you can put it in and have it do it for you, but then it's like, hello, welcome to me channel IRUE.
Yeah. Like
and then you go in and make it yourself.
Yeah, so you can go in and change it. Sometimes when I'm feeling lazy and trying to get my video done on time, I just leave it how it is. I'm like, all right, not that many people will notice, hopefully.
Yeah, no one's going to comment. Hey, that was supposed to be a W mouth shape?
Yeah. Usually what it does, like, it's not that bad. It can be noticeable, but the worst it does is it just makes it so... It just targets, like, mainly just general, like, A's and S sort of mouth shapes. So it's, like, it can be covered up. It just has, like, it's less detailed and less fast. And especially with me, like, I speak very, very fast in my audio just because I'm, like, I don't know, I feel like if it's too slow, I kind of feel like I'm wasting people's times. Because I know a lot of people that are, like, including me, I always do this on YouTube, is I'm watching a video and I just change it to, like, 1.5 times speed.
I do that for tutorials and stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with, hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be getting you to do the, 1.5 speed. Almost a weird question, but, like, does it have a harder time detecting a British accent than an American one, or is there a difference there?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird for me because I do have like an Americanized accent because I'm half American. Like I've born and raised in England, but my mother's from California, so like I've always said yoga instead of yogurt, and stuff like that.
I can hear the half nature of it.
Yeah, I have and it's also because I probably speak to a lot of American people all the time.
I can tell that you have a British accent, but I'm sure when you go to England, everybody says you're like an American accent.
Yeah. Actually, that does happen a few times.
How do you say
my doctor thought
garage,
like,
garage?
No, I say both. I say garage. I say bin, but I also say trash. So it all rubbish.
What am I?
Yeah, I'm an amalgamation. I'm a monster. I'm a mutant. It might be that, but I haven't really seen that as the main issue. It's also the fact that the software gets better with each like patch. Like I'm on, like whenever I update the software on Adobe, it's always like, oh, in the patch notes, it improved lip sync. I'm like, oh, of course it did. That's like what happens every time. But it's really cool because I have like a one of the developers is a mutual with me on Twitter, so. And they're really open for feedback and stuff. And like, if I was more clever, I could easily, if I was like clever at all, I would be like, oh, I really love this feature and this feature and this feature.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's like I don't utilize everything in the software enough. Like I'm still very, even though I've used it for like 2 years or so, I feel like I underuse all of its features as much, and instead just try and master the general use of it first until I sort of go into that.
That's the thing. Every software, I don't think there's anything I use where I know every single button. Even Photoshop, there's at least a third of every menu that I've never used, and I do it professionally, like for contract, and I'm like, I don't know what a third of this stuff is.
Yeah, so I don't think that's a thing. But like whilst that's the case, like I've used like Premiere Pro for like 5, 6, 7 years now.
Yeah.
And so like with that, I'm like pushing to the limit, and I'm like, oh, I should probably start using After Effects for these certain scenes, but I'm like, no, I'm too scared. No,
it's hard. After Effects is really hard.
Yeah, no, After Effects is really hard.
But now that you're describing character animator, I'm like surprised that not enough people do that, because that sounds like
that's what everyone says.
The ticket for story time. I mean, that seems like that seems like it's specifically made for the kind of material you're making.
Well, it's because A, people don't like learning new stuff, and B, people at with their first rigs, you'll look at it and you'll be like, this looks gross. This looks uncanny. But
like
it's
you were talking about that like horrible neck movement.
If you look at my like 5th or 6th storytime video, you can see like my first rig, and along with that I was like just messing around with like art skills and stuff, and it's like the grossest period of my like of my channel. I look back at it, I'm like, ugh, this is so gross. Like my monitor was like the color balance was off on my monitor, so I had like an off-white for my character instead of like a white, so it was slightly gray and stuff, and I was like, this is disgusting. Like looking back, I'm like, I'm like very sad about it, but like, you know, that's part of a process. You gotta get past the ugly stage.
Yeah. And you're gonna know it's ugly way before you start making anything good. You just have to be okay with that. I was gonna ask, like, in your process of becoming kind of a storytime animator, was there anything you were trying to do to make yourself stand out in the beginning? Were you like, okay, I'm not gonna be like these guys?
In the beginning, not really. Now, yes. Like, if you see from, like, all my 2019 videos are related to video games somehow. Just like I used the sort of format as a base when I first started doing it, because I was like, oh, this is just a fun way of me starting to do art. And then I slowly realized I was like, I don't care that much about school that much. I'd rather talk about Mario. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna start taking this like sort of turn and start talking about.
I think I'd know more about storytime animation if more people were like you, because I'm like, I don't want to watch all the school stuff. Yeah, I'm out of it.
That's why I'm not that like huge on it. And it is like there is certain aspects where I'm like, I don't want to. There is always that worry that I'd like niche myself in to like something, but at the same time, it's like Nintendo and video game. Everyone loves Nintendo, right? Like I have nothing to worry about. I'm a giant fanboy, so I don't think I'm gonna like have a worry of getting bored of making videos.
You're not gonna run out of content anytime soon.
Even if I wanted to do like a one-off video about like a different topic, like I have one video in my schedule at some point, doing a video on Harry Potter. Just because like I have a big. A lot of my childhood was catered around Harry Potter, and I think that'd be a really fun video to do. But like, I'm not gonna stop doing it. I'm not gonna like, oh, I can't do that because it's not related to video games. It's like, no,
people. We've talked about this a bit on the podcast here too. You make what you want, and you trust your ride or die fans to follow you along. Yeah, and that's how you stay healthy as an artist. People are gonna be there for you, especially in a storytime kind of format. They're there for you and your voice. And your personality and stuff. Yeah.
No, that definitely, because like even I always try and keep that with like thumbnails and stuff as well. Like even though these videos aren't specifically about an experience I had, I mean they are, but at the same time, since they have like this like Nintendo niche, it's not like, oh, I'm not putting myself on a thumbnail anymore. I'm just having this. It's like I still want to have that personal touch. I still want it to like have like my character be as a focus. Yeah. So that's not really lost at all. That's actually one of the coolest things about doing this, is that you do get to be very personal about it, and you do get an audience that cares about you, which is really nice. Yeah. And that you can interact with. Like I'm, with like several of my like patrons, I'm like on first name basis with them, and I talk to them like loads on my Discord and stuff, and it's like the second most used group chat I use. Yeah. So it's really cool to have that sort of connection with just people who just start watching your videos.
Having a community as part of your project is the best. It is absolutely the best. There's a Discord for Grounds Patrol too, and it's like, I want to go talk about my day. I'm going to go talk to them. Yeah. And they appreciate it because it's you, and you appreciate it because you have a group of friends who also like knows a lot about you because they've heard you talk a lot about yourself by the nature of what you do for a living, or sort of,
Yeah, that sort of thing. And it's pretty cool. Or even just like people who, because especially in like high school and stuff, hardly any of my friends played Nintendo games. Like literally none of them except for me.
Boo.
And then so like it's cool to finally have like a little mini community where I can be like, yo guys, this game actually is really fun. Oh, did you see this? And like stuff. And same for like mutual creators, like because our like the community in like the like storytime thing is like, or just like the YouTube animator community is like really really tight. Like everyone knows everyone pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. So like it's really fun to sort of get to know like new people who are like join in and stuff. And
is the Storytime community big enough that it like starts to click off? Is there like this section of Storytime people, this section?
I mean, kind of, but like I'd view it more as in like I'd view it a lot bit like super similar to like a school where like everyone's in the same building, but there is different friendship groups and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I definitely have some people I hang out at lunchtime versus others.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean like, but that's just because like, you know, like I'm closer with them. It's not a case that I don't dislike anyone else. It's just that, you know, you don't like you can't have a conversation with like 50 people in a call at once.
I know that a lot of talk about Storytime gets into like the drama side of it. There's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of like, he said, I'm not here to grill about that at all because I don't care even the slightest bit. But
no, I don't really care.
Do you find that affecting you at all? Is that part of the
I see it affecting some of my friends, and then I'm like, this is lame. Like I'm like whenever that sort of stuff happens, I'm like, can we all just get along? Like I don't know.
Right.
I just want to make memes. You know, I want to just have fun.
It's like this is a building art form. Y'all are going to be working together in 2 years anyway. Why are you trying to be petty
But I've
about
realized
stuff?
I feel like that's a thing in every workplace, every sort of creative outlet. I'm pretty sure that's a thing still in like the actual real animation industry. I'm sure there's some drama, like underground drama between people, and I feel like that's just a thing which you have to be mature about, and you just be like, well, I don't know, this is kind of lame. Like it might just be a thing that some people didn't experience that sort of stuff in high school or something.
Yeah, so they're trying to like get it out of their system.
Yeah, but like I want to have this drama. Come on, and it's like I don't know. For me, I'm just like, all right, cool. I just want everyone to be happy and have fun.
Yeah.
And if I can like help people with that somehow, like if there's like someone who's down on like some sort of like drama situation, I'd be like, yo, don't worry, it's all good.
Yeah, cool it.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, just hang out.
We're in this for fun together.
Yeah, I definitely don't like putting too much energy into like negative emotions, if that makes sense.
Exactly, especially
I definitely
this.
I definitely don't want to waste time hating on anyone.
Yeah,
it just feels like I'm too lazy to hate.
Is there a how do I say this? Is there like a thought process that like Storytime animation is getting too saturated with people?
I mean, I guess, I guess, but like at the same time, I'm sort of like, I'm a weird choice to talk about that because I am sort of like fading out of actually, I guess I'm an interesting case in that because I am sort of like phasing out in terms of doing my own niche of like video game stuff because I'm like, no one else really has done that combination.
Yeah.
There's a few smaller guys who I talk to who've done that as well, which are really cool. Like there's this one guy, one of my friends called Dangani. Mm-hmm. He does these sort of like story time videos, but it's catered about like Smash Bros characters and stuff.
That's fun.
And it's really fun. And so there's a few people like that. But in terms of like the raw like sort of standard like by the books animation like that, it is hard to see that like if someone started new today, they would struggle with it just because of the saturation. Because again, there's only a certain amount of hashtag relatable stories, but at the same time, it's like, you know, make what you want. Like if you, as we said earlier, if you make something which you're passionate about, people are gonna watch anyway because they think they're like, yo, this person's putting in a lot of work, this person's enjoying making this video, so they're probably gonna enjoy watching it.
To me, it's an interesting form because, like I said earlier, I don't know as much about Storytime animations as a whole, which is why I'm like sitting here quizzing you, but it reminds me a lot of podcasting. Like podcasting is a newish art form, but it's getting to the point now where it's saturated enough that if you just sit down and do just whatever you want to do, you're going to be in the leagues of millions of other podcasts doing the same thing. Like in the beginning, everybody was sitting down with their friends and just shooting the shit and drinking and talking about stuff. And then there was a point where that was tired, and people were like, I don't want to listen to another bros talking about stuff podcast. So
I guess it's the same for like writing and shows and everything. Like it's a case where unless it's the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, it's probably a better idea taking like a new concept, because that like just has a higher chance of doing well. And that gives you, and especially like if you're starting from scratch from never doing a podcast before, I'm pretty sure it's easier to try something new with like an experimental idea, because then you like people wouldn't really care for like, oh well, even though like the quality might not be as good as other ones, or they might not have like the presentation or the confidence as like, you know, someone who's been doing it for 10 years. Just the concept alone is really entertaining, and that works like especially with like videos. Like my latest video, like because the main thing which people used to do for like the storytime niche is they had like, you know, animated videos about like a specific, you know, story, whether it be about work or school or just some sort of experience. And then on my side gig had again, this was like very common like a few years ago, they'd always have filler videos of them doing an art challenge. That was like the go-to thing, like collaborating with someone else. And like again, if you look at my bud James, he used to always do these. Well, I didn't say he used to always do these, but the way I found him is he did like these, like Pokemon, like making like new Pokemon videos.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which I watched a few times, and that got me into his niche of like watching his videos and stuff. Or like that's basically how I found him. Not that many people do that anymore. Yeah, and so it just seems to be like this idea of just trying to push and do the best high quality, like quote unquote main video you can. But now I'm trying to experiment with that because I have character animator, and I'm like, hey, I should use this because it's really quick and fast and easy to use these characters, to like experiment with like a new form of like secondary content. And like, so I've tried that with a few things on the side, because I don't want to do just, sometimes I don't want to write a script, and I just want to like have fun with friends and edit it and upload it.
Hell yeah,
and have fun with it.
It
so
took
like
me a
my
while to
latest
even
video,
learn that people wrote scripts for these things. I thought it was just people sitting in front of a mic and then animating to whatever they said.
No, that's the biggest part of it, is writing scripts for like the storytime videos and stuff, like, and then sending it to other people in the community, getting other people to critique.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's my biggest struggle. I always get like a few of my friends to try and help out. Like literally just before this, just before the podcast, I was speaking to my friend Kerr Ritchie about doing about working on my next script for my video. I'm doing one on. It's also kind of hard because it's a lot easier if you're doing a story, because you already have a narrative. You already have like a base of a beginning, middle, and end.
You know how the story went. Like there's a reason you like this story. It's because it's a story, and it has like
versus
a twist to it. It has like, so we were doing this, but here's the thing. Come to find out, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like
you have the structure already laid out for you. So having this new format for me this past year about doing videos about like video games, or just a specific topic of video games, like my losing one, or my video on video game music, like those, like there's such a struggle and like tug of war with me and writing in that, because it's such a big topic. I mean, it sounds niche. It sounds small, like, oh, video game music, that's kind of like a small sort of thing.
No, it's like niche, but it's huge.
But then when you start writing for it, it sucks. It's really hard. And I'm doing this new video on, like my next video, sneak peek for anyone listening to this. My next video, next video is about Mario enemies that deserve more love. Which I think is fun. And like, but even with that, like the main just concept of it is like Mario enemies and villains, and it's like there's so much stuff which I want to talk about in this video, and I'm just getting like frustrated and getting a migraine over like what to talk about. It's like, oh, do I talk about the history of the enemies? Do I talk about how you design enemies and villains for Mario games, and like the game design behind that?
All right, this is fun. So as far as making a script for this kind of thing, you have your idea. I'm assuming like you maybe have a notebook or something. You write down ideas that you have along the way.
Yeah. I just basically, when I have an idea, I write it down in I have a Google spreadsheet for like all my video ideas. Yep. And then whenever I have a new one, I add it to the list. And then depending on how much I like the idea, I like highlight it either like yellow or orange.
Yeah. Okay. Like definitely do this. Maybe do this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have some that are like, if I don't have any ideas, maybe I'll do this.
Yeah, exactly. So then from there, I am like, ooh, this one's really nice. I definitely want to do a video on this. So for instance, that Harry Potter video, I started thinking about like writing that, but I was like, I kind of don't want to. Maybe I'll do this video later because I'm just not in the mood for this.
Yeah.
And then I was just like looking through my list, and I was like, oh, actually, doing a video on Mario enemies would be really fun. And then, or like video game music or something like that. And then from there, I would break down all the things which I want to talk about. I would basically just write a page of notes about just a bunch of shit which comes to my mind.
I was wondering if that was it, if you like kind of outlined it, if you have almost like an essay, you're like body 1, body 2, body 3.
See, if I was smart and intelligent and good at writing, I would do that. Yeah. I would be like, all right, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to write this, and this, and it's going to be like easy. Super easy, just gonna get it down.
In an ideal world.
Because I'm shit at writing.
Okay.
I just have to like write down whatever's on my mind and then try and it's kind of like whilst most people they would slowly. It's like let's say you're building a puzzle. You're building a puzzle and like you and person slowly puts down one piece, and slowly builds it up and putting it together piece by piece. With each individual piece knowing exactly what it is. And then that's how most people write in the community, but because I'm so dumb at this
and then
shit,
here's how
what I do is it's like I just throw up the pieces
you throw
and
the
then
pieces
cover
on the
it in like
table.
they're covered up in all this vomit. I'm just like trying to figure out does this piece go here?
Yeah.
Oh crap, no, let's just try and jam this in here. Let's see if this fits. No, it doesn't fit. Are you serious?
Why is this blood everywhere? Why is this on fire?
And then I try and and then I have a friend who helps like wash off all the pieces and it's like, all right, you should probably do this. I'm like, all right, thank you for teaching me. So like it is a problem with me where I do have to, unless I want to go through torture for like half a month, I usually try and ask a friend to look over it for me.
Yeah.
And get their opinion on it. Just because I've kind of just become... It's kind of weird because with friends who don't do this stuff and aren't YouTubers, they're like, oh, Mads, you're like way better at doing improv. Just do improv straight away. And then don't worry about scripting.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, I do have like quality control for my video.
Yes.
And I also am kind of like becoming pretty anal about it.
And thank you for having quality control too. That's important.
Yeah. It is important, but at the same time, I do get what they mean, where they're like, you shouldn't care as much. It's like one of my friends who he's in the community but he doesn't do like his videos are kind of like story times but it's all done with like stock images and stuff and he's like and his name's Kurt Ritchie and he does like really really high quality videos but he always tells me he's like, yo dude, stop trying, like don't try as hard. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, because like I try and put in, it's like an overload sometimes, and then you get burnt out, and then you struggle with it. And that's especially me with scripts. Like, I've gone pretty good at streamlining my process of visuals, especially with my rig, which like I update like, every month or two. I'm like, ooh, this would be a nice new like arm pose or a nice new like expression which I could add to him. And then I'd add that. And like build it up over time. So with each video, it's slightly, higher quality. Yeah. That's a really satisfying thing. Like, whilst most people like quick side tangent, like one awesome thing about rigging it as like me as a like personally as an artist, is I really struggle with drawing my character like on model each time. Like if I was doing frame by frame or something, I would suck so much and it'd be so inconsistent.
It would look scribbly and
But with like the rig, I can just sort of like build it up piece by piece. And what I used to do was and like I guess if I ever wanted to make a slight adjustment to my character, I'd do this where I would like trace over the previous rig, but then like clean it up with like be like, oh okay, well this line's messy, I'll re-go over this and stuff. And like I used to do that, especially like early on, like 2017. I used to sort of it's so weird because people like look down like, no, like you shouldn't trace other people's work, but I was tracing my own work. So it's like such a weird position to be in.
You're gonna sue yourself.
Like that, like yeah. I was like kind of I wasn't confident in my work, but now it's like that I don't really do that anymore. But in terms of just, it was such a weird and cool system to have it. So I take this existing rig, which I had previously, and I build up the pieces. Like, oh, okay, I'll change out the eyes. Oh, I'll do this instead. Oh, let me update the hair. Let me update the face structure. I'm gonna redo all the arm poses. I had like it's such a cool system of like upgrading what you have. versus starting from scratch.
It's like building your rig. It's like, working on
really
working
fun.
on it. And again, so you will record it, and then you'll lay that down, and then you'll kind of script your movements of your character along with it after the fact. You never like do it live.
Yeah. So basically, what I would do is I would record the audio, export
the audio. I'm sure.
Edit it down, and then let's say, because I do just do traditional drawings in my video as well. Like I would draw, any existing assets which aren't going to be rigged.
Yes.
I would just draw those in Photoshop and then import them into Premiere. But then I at least like lay down the areas which are going to have my character. And then for those pieces, I export those specific, like, let's say it's like a 10-second piece of audio.
Mm-hmm.
I export that as an MP3, drag it into Character Animator, and then add my rig to the scene. And then from there, I'll sync it with the audio, and then do all the head motions. So, like, it has full, like, face rig controls, so it scans your face with your webcam, and you can track it entirely.
Oh my god!
Of course, if you do that with the default settings, it looks very scary.
Okay.
So because it's tracking it 1-to-1. So what I like to do is because you can control like motion, rotation, scale, and like parallax effects and stuff like that. Like if I zoom in, my head will grow and zoom out. But I usually tone down on those, turn those off, and just have it so it's head rotation and slight head motion.
Okay.
So you'll see my videos, like my head might go slightly up or slightly down, but it always gets like rotated side to side, and that makes it seem like it's tweened more than like being like face. Like people can't tell that it's like my face controlling it unless I tell them.
I wouldn't have seen that. No, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool, by the way. That's awesome that you didn't realize that.
I didn't realize it. No, I was literally sitting here thinking you were keyframing like everyone else.
It does have keyframe. Well, it's weird. Like instead of keyframing, it's visemes. So you just drag a viseme to like the point you want, and then like before the viseme, it's one pose. After the viseme, it's another. But usually, once I do the head tracking, I then control my eyes, like my eye position, using my arrow keys.
Yeah.
I use my arrow keys to do the eyeballs, and then along with that, I usually use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all of those keys to do my eyebrows and eyelids.
Would you be able to do all of it at the same time, or is there too many details?
See, it's like I could, but then it would look shit. It's like it's easier to do like the arrow keys and the it's easier to do the eyeballs and the eyebrows together.
Yeah.
Like you can do those together because that's easy. But then after that, I usually do the body together.
So you have to
like
do the body,
I do the body,
the eyes and the head.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I could if I wanted to, because it's really easy to rig it. I could just make it so I press one key and then it puts them in a pose and also gives them these eyebrows. But I kind of like having the control of being able to have like different like eyebrow positions with like mismatching poses. It just makes it so it gives me more control. But like even if I wanted to do it traditionally, like I could just use this software and format it like how everyone else does their videos, where let's say I draw 10 poses of my character, one where his arms are crossed, one where he's like shrugging, and I do this all in Photoshop, right?
Right.
And they're individual. It's not rigged up like mine. It's just like individual poses. There's no lip sync or anything. It's just like, the standard story time sort of pose.
Exactly. Yeah.
And let's say I do 10 of those, and then I just import that PSD file. I put them all in a PSD file, and I import that into Character Animator. I could just assign each pose to a letter on my keyboard, and then whenever I press that, it changes it to that pose. And I could just use it as a keyboard shortcut.
Yeah, you could do that.
And it's like why don't people, if people aren't going to use the software to do the rigs, you could just use it for that, and it speeds up like the process like tenfold.
It's like a slideshow, basically. You're just doing from 1 to 10 to 5.
Yeah, doing it like that. Yeah, and then I could add a bounce transition. And
here's what I'm imagining. All right, you have one person doing your body, and you have one person doing your head and your eyes. Literally like puppetry, like when I just watched Dark Crystal, the series, and like they have one person controlling the eyebrows with a remote control, and they have the other person with the head and the hand. Like, doing
that is one way of doing it. I could do that because my brain's too slow. But it's like I could. But there's other ways of working around it. Like you can, when you press like the record button to enter all the prompts.
Yeah.
You can have it so it's at 0.5 speed, 0.25 speed, so you get the timing right.
Oh, good. Okay.
Like it's designed with you doing it all in one thing, all in one take, because it's meant to be able to live stream with. But it's just with the way my rig is set up, I'm just very inefficient with an incredibly efficient software.
Sure.
Just because I like having like the full control, again, as I said, over like the eyebrows and stuff. And I'm sure at one point, I'll make it so it's a lot more efficient and easier to use.
Are you ever considering doing a live stream, like an animated live
I
stream?
have actually. I've done lots of them before, but usually with those, it's just when my internet sucks. That's the only problem. Is currently I live out in like the middle of nowhere in England, and obviously, and I'm planning on moving to the States next year at some point.
Oh, nice.
But like on the few times, like since I got American citizenship and stuff, because I am a citizen.
Congrats.
From my mother being from America.
Would you move to California?
Which is really cool. That's the plan, just because that's where work is.
Yeah.
Like if James ever got an office or something, I would 100% move.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, it makes it a lot easier. Like recently I just went on a trip out there, like a work trip to do like for like a month or so, like filming stuff for him.
Okay.
Again, because I have that past of doing like, you know, going to school for media and stuff. So we did that, and then we were able to just make content a lot faster for his side.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a case of getting used to that and getting a balance of doing stuff for him and doing stuff for myself.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so like once I have like, I'm sure by the time that turns around, I would definitely do live streams of my character and stuff, just because it'd be such a cool. It's really cool when people watch it, like, whoa, this is so cool, cool that you can do this, man.
I don't know if I've seen that. That would be novel. That would be you're talking to the animated character that you love.
Yeah,
basically.
there is. If you look up the Twitch streamer Scribbly, he does it.
Okay.
He's one of the, and I think he's like the main guy who does it. I found him through like a character animator like showcase thing.
Okay.
And then I actually contacted him later on, be like, yo, dude, can you show me how your rig works? It's so cool. And it's and he gives like he has a really good rig system for it. But yeah, usually for the rigs, it's pretty when it's live streaming, it's pretty straightforward. Like I would just have my character holding a microphone as his nice. Like arm pose.
Yeah.
And then I would just focus on the eyebrows and the eyeballs. Or if I didn't want to focus on the eyeballs, or I wanted to have it so the eyeballs track my eyes, I could do it that way.
Do the arms and then you have the face tracking for the eyes, but like subtle, so it's not wild and wacky and horrible.
So I could do that, or what I usually do, or what I used to do when I did the live streams or attempted them, is I would just give my character sunglasses. So I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
I'd be like, hey guys, it's me. I got my cool sunglasses and my microphone. So
I'm also wearing gloves and
yeah, and it's like doing that all as one person. Like if I was, I can't imagine, because what Scribbly does is he like live streams whilst he's playing games, and like what he has is, I think, I might be wrong, but he has pedals on the floor which he would press to change his character's emotion.
Jeez.
So
he's like a live stream. He's like a game live streamer, and
so
with an animated face cam, basically.
Yeah. That is pretty much it. And because usually with character animator, most people that use it versus what I do, where I have like separately drawn arm poses. Mm-hmm. What most people do is they have one set of arms, and then they use the dragger tool to move them around during the video.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, but instead of me doing that, because it can make the artwork like get pixelated, like especially where like the corners bend, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So that's why I've opted to like do them all like individually, which of course it's like it takes more work, but at the same time,
with what you're doing, you have the illusion of it being frame by frame, which is why.
Yeah, that's exactly what I get at.
If you have the arms moving in a way that's like pixelating and stretching, then you're like, oh well, he's just doing a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it still looks good. Like some people can really pull off. Again, like Scribbly, his stuff is fantastic, and it fits what he's trying to do. But for the content which I make and the illusion I want to bring, which is that these characters look as if they were animated in Toon Boom or Flash, just with like an eighth of the work. Is really what I'm trying to get at.
It's cool.
Which it's good. It's good that you didn't even realize I used it. I'm actually really happy about that. I'm like, yes.
Now I have a question for you, and for this one you can brag as much as you want. The brag filter is turned off. you have a good solid following, you have a good solid Patreon, and a community around you. What do you owe that to? Why do you think you have the success you do?
Why do I think I have the success I do?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like,
Besides luck, because everyone who has it is
I was gonna
lucky,
say definitely luck. At the same time, I have been doing this stuff since I was 12 years old.
Yeah,
I have been like making content since I was 12 and like trying to learn. And like at the same time, whilst most kids after they finish school, they would like, go home and play video games. Of course, I did that as well, but I also worked on my channel a lot, and like I turned down a lot of like like parties and stuff.
Yeah.
To instead just sit in my room and draw. So, I did have some sacrifice, but at the same time, I feel like it's worth it because it means I can just have fun later on.
Yeah. Dude, I relate to that so much. That was my childhood too. I was sitting at my computer working on projects and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's because I want to have my dream job, so it's like, you have to have a sacrifice somewhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like that. I also, I got lucky where I have to give James credit where like I work for him and he credits me.
Nice.
And he's really nice about that. It's like, it's very nice where I have someone who like believes in what I do.
Yeah.
And like helps like, push stuff. But like at the same time, he definitely gave me like a one push where I think I was in one of his videos once, like towards the end.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And that grew my channel to like 20,000 from like 7,000, 8,000 to 20,000.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, thanks, James. Yeah, I know, it was crazy.
Friends in high places.
Yeah. But like from there, I'm pretty sure my channel would just stay there if I didn't just post.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing is just like continuing to make as many videos as you can, churn it out there. Definitely, like I overthink it so much. I wish I didn't. Like I'm giving advice which I should give to myself, where I shouldn't overthink things.
Yeah,
I should just chillax, take a chill pill.
And then after this, I'm probably you're chill. On your best day, you have the chill pill. You're good. You're relaxed. It's just on your worst day, you're neurotic. You're overthinking. You're double back on things. Yeah, it's a sliding scale.
And yeah, it's just it is definitely stressful in situations, but it's a good stressful.
Yeah.
Not always though. Like sometimes I'm like right now I'm like shit. I haven't uploaded in a month, and like I'm stressing to like fix this script because I was gone for a month working, like doing my other side of the work, and I'm like, damn. Now I need to focus on getting something out. So like it's just I think it's just a case of being consistent. Yeah. And that's a very hard thing for all of us to do.
Jesus, right?
And I haven't done that at all. But I feel like if I was consistent, I'd be double as successful as I am now.
Yeah. The more you upload, the more consistent you are, but the more you lose quality of life because of it. You could do an upload every day, but you'd be killing yourself doing that. And
I feel also the fact that I like to experiment a lot with my stuff, and also, as I said about my rig, is I'm very like one thing which I am proud about myself is I always try and improve with each video. Like I try and make each video better than the last. And this is like I guess this can be a bad thing, but usually after a week or so after I post my video, I'm like, that video was kind of garbage. I could do better than that.
Yeah,
and
that's the
but that is a good mentality to have.
Yeah. You're always your own harshest critic. You're gonna see errors in your stuff that nobody else sees, but and that's gonna bring you down. But then the next episode, you're fixing that, and then it's better. I can tell you that I just kind of did a dive of your channel today as prep for this, and I can tell you I see the quality in it just scrolling through your page. Between your first video and this video, I'm like, okay, oh, ooh.
Thanks.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
How can we support you? Where can we go to give you money?
I do have. Thanks for the segue. No, I do have a Patreon which offers a few rewards. I'm actually going to be updating it soon. It might have already been updated by the time this goes out. With like new rewards and new perks and stuff. If any support on that is really appreciated. You can join in on my Patreon chat on my Discord server. Nice. Which is where I'm active the most. If you ever want to hang out and talk. Other ways of supporting me. I have merchandise. I have a merchandise shelf. You should just be able to see it underneath all my videos. We just added some new products, which is really fun.
Nice.
And of course, just watching my content. Like the one, like even if you don't want to support anyway, like in terms of like money-wise. Like the one thing which,
or if you can't,
which I
or if you're not in a
appreciate the
place where
most.
you can.
I mean, if you can, that's fantastic,
Yeah.
and thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. But if not, just watching the videos does plenty, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and sharing and stuff. Nice.
Mm.
Well, good luck on your script. I hope it goes well.
Thank you so much.
I hope, and if you are struggling for ideas, just get some random word generators out there and have your script go to Crazy Town, and we'll all be there for it too.
Of course, yeah.
It'll be how Harry Potter went to the circus.
Yeah, there we go.
A big thank you to GetMadz for joining me, and thank you to you guys for listening. That was fun, right? I'm gonna go get Character Animator now and try to make my own little Will puppet, I think, maybe. Thank you to our groundskeepers. They are Tom Fulp and Serbskis. They are our elite top-level patrons who keep this podcast running. If you want to be a patron at any pledge level, you're going to start getting fun little bonus contents, access to secret things, and maybe chances to hear episodes recorded live. Become a patron at patreon.com/groundspatrol. And you're supporting a cool thing you enjoy, which I think is good. Do you have any thoughts you'd like to share about the episode? Leave a review on Newgrounds. I might read some of it at the top of the next show, like you heard me do this time. You should know that Grounds Patrol is produced and sometimes edited by Cam, aka Ninja Muffin. You can follow him on Newgrounds and Twitter at NinjaMuffin99. Thank you to Waterflame for the use of his song Below. It is our wonderful theme song. And you can join our Discord at bit.ly/Grounds Patrol. Get on there and talk about all the stuff you heard today. We also have art channel, post your art, music channel, post your music. We have a lewd channel. I think some people after the Not Safe for Work Roundtable posted some funky stuff there. Follow us on Twitter at Grounds Patrol. Follow me on Newgrounds and Twitter at WillKMR. And guys, our next episode is on November 20th. Until next time, stay creative.